Hi everyone. I'm Peter from Web3 Foundation, and you may know us from around the ecosystem. We are generally helping out with building up the Web3 foundations, and in particular working on supporting the Polkadot protocol to enable all the different chains to connect to each other and make it easier to experiment with creating new kinds of chains. And I will just briefly chat about a few different things that we do, and mostly focus on the things that may be relevant to the different projects here that are building on Substrate. So in terms of the stuff that we do, so we don't do any development ourselves as the Web3 Foundation, but kind of in terms of the technology, we kind of do these general three things. So first of all, the research, kind of academic research. Then we support different projects out there in the space financially through the grants program. And then we try to provide some useful resources for people to get started and learn about stuff and figure out how to build on these technologies and so on. So I'll go through these. So first, starting with our research, we have a great research team at the foundation, and we really want to push what is possible with both the Polkadot protocol and also some other protocols around it. We want to make sure that it's all well analyzed, that is actually secure, that it is performant as possible, and so on. And we cover a bunch of different areas, academic areas, but we also, besides the things that we do in-house within our group, we also collaborate with different universities and industry groups to do analysis of the protocols. And if you would like to see exactly kind of what we are doing, you can check out research.polkadot.network. The stuff in there is fairly technical, so you might want to start somewhere else, so that I will mention later. But you can find there a bunch of different kinds of things. So first of all, there are some general write-ups that go pretty deep into the different parts of the Polkadot protocol. So you can learn about nitty-gritty of token economics. We have some initial ideas how different projects should be implementing bridges. You can learn more in detail about the block production and how it exactly works. But at the same time, we are working on releasing this information in a more digestible format. So you can also just stay tuned for any blog posts that we'll be releasing and things of that sort. We have some papers in draft, and we'll have more papers there. So we have one about the grandpa finality gadget that is being used by Polkadot, but it's a fairly general paper that is also applicable throughout the decentralized technology space and can be used for many different blockchains when used, for instance, with Substrate, where it's initially being implemented. And then we work on specifications. So in particular, the Polkadot specification. So making sure that all the different implementation teams that are working on it, including Parity, implement actually the same protocol. So you might know that we also work with ChainSafe, Soramitsu, and OpenNetsys on other implementations. But even for Substrate, it also applies. And then work on different cryptographic libraries and crypto implementations. So in particular, what you might find interesting is the Snorkel cryptographic library. So it's implemented in Rust, so you can use it from there. But there is also, it can compile to WebAssembly and be used from JavaScript in the browser. So you might know that within Polkadot, this is the majority of the crypto keys and general cryptography is done using this crypto library. And it's a pretty neat one, even if you do a project that is separate from Polkadot, because using this library, you get a lot of different things available to you. So obviously signing, but then you have things like VRF, variable random functions. You get threshold signatures with an addition of another library, and then batch verification and a bunch of other things that may be useful in crypto projects, and it's fairly easy to use. And we are also working on making sure it's secure right now with and auditing and so on, so that it's a solid foundation. And then one more thing is the cross-client test. So obviously, as we'll have other clients in Rust and Go and so on, we will want to make sure that they are all compliant with each other. So we try to coordinate creation of these tests. So that's a bit about the research that we do, which is kind of creating the foundation. And of course, we work jointly also besides the research teams out there, also with the implementation teams that to make sure that all this research is as pragmatic as possible and can be actually used in all the projects that are out there. And now grants. So obviously, once things are researched, you need to then implement them. And of course, a lot of projects have their own idea for a business model, and that's great. But there are some things that are relevant to the whole ecosystem that are not so easily fundable. And this is what the grants program is for. We fund projects across the different areas that I will mention later. Generally, the grants are up to 100K, but lower amounts are a bit easier to get through than higher amounts. We mostly focus on software development and research. We've given 17 grants already this year. So it's going. It's possible to get grants, and we have a fairly simple application process. So and you can find even more information on grants.web3.foundation. This is just a quick list of the different grants that were given out. There are for all sorts of different areas. So there are different kind of Polkadot runtime environment implementations, so initial Polkadot implementations and wallets and libraries and so on. And to give you a flavor of kind of what might be good eligible for a grant. So generally, you might either come up with an idea from scratch that might be relevant, or maybe within your project, you'll see that there is a certain part of your project that may be more widely useful within the community. Let's say you write some library. And so we would be then very keen to take this library and make it usable for the whole community. So we can fund and writing documentation, things around it, or writing things from scratch. Either way is great. So one way to look at the kind of the different technologies in the space is this diagram of the Web3 technology stack, starting with kind of very low-level technologies and going out all the way up to the browser or some sort of wallet that displays the decentralized applications to the user. And really, we provide grants to things that are being built across this whole stack. So kind of going from the top, we are supporting different browsers, hardware wallet integrations, UIs that allow you to interact with the chain, and mobile integrations and so on. Then kind of in terms of then development and tooling, we are looking for APIs to be written in different languages that allow you to access Substrate nodes and Polkadot nodes more generally. Things that make dependency management easier, deployment tools, monitoring tools, benchmarking. So you will see in our blog post already some of these things were funded, but there is still plenty of stuff missing there, and we are looking for good applications in all these areas. Then there is a number of different protocols that are being built using kind of blockchain underneath or file storage underneath. So there are things like encrypted file storage, for instance, stable coins, oracles, identity, and especially protocols like Polkadot, where you have these multiple chains, it's really important to have these solid second layer protocols, because those are the protocols that will really enable interoperability across the whole Polkadot ecosystem. So, so it's really important to start working on these. And then getting into the actual kind of first layer protocol, or the this got kind of cut off, but look, of course, there is Polkadot itself, which provides this kind of platform for different chains to interact with each other and share security. So there we are mostly covered. There is already a number of teams working on stuff, but we are looking for bridges from Polkadot to other blockchains. We are looking for cool new ideas for blockchains that could be implemented using this technology stack and using Substrate. Then in terms of these data distribution protocols like IPFS, we're looking also for integrations. There is already one team doing IPFS integration, but there is a bunch of other interesting ones as well. And then we are also working on this initiative messaging for Web3, where we are trying to figure out how do we create a messaging protocol, something maybe similar to Whisper, but that could actually scale to global decentralized applications. And there we support a few teams working on that. And kind of going to even lower level, for P2P, you might know that Substrate uses libp2p, and so we are looking for improvements to libp2p. It can be also used for state channels and for many other applications, and we are funding some things there already. And then also WebAssembly. So that's another kind of fundamental building block that can be used for off-chain workers, can be used on-chain, can be used for many different things. So we need to make sure that it's accessible from many different languages and that it's optimized. So that's a whole spectrum, and you can again find out more kind of about the topics and maybe ideas for stuff at grants.web3.foundation. If you have an idea, you can also reach out grants@web3.foundation in terms of emailing. And now, lastly, so that's it for grants. We've recently started to work more on resources that kind of cut across the Polkadot ecosystem and primarily, but also Web3 more generally. And we started this site, wiki.polkadot.network. You can already find a bunch of cool resources there. And generally, we split it up into a few different sections. So one for people that may be keen to build on these technologies. Another one that kind of lets you dive deeper, how these protocols work. Then there is a section for people that may want to run the network, so validators or collators or other kinds of network maintainers. And then we also have some pages that list a number of cool resources in other languages, so you can check those out as well. In terms of for what might be interesting for you, there is a pretty comprehensive article that is being kept up to date that walks you through. If you would like to build with Polkadot in some way or on Polkadot, what do you need to be aware of? What will be the kind of the path? What are the things that you can be doing already right now in order to be prepared, and kind of how the process will roughly work? And also a few other articles of a similar kind that hopefully will help you find kind of context on where we are at and where we are going. And of course, this is all kind of hosted. It's all open source, hosted from GitHub. So we welcome contributions, and especially if you build a cool project where you have some resources available for people to access this project and make use of it. We would love to include you in this resource. So we don't want to keep it only specific to a small subset of technologies, but we want to make sure that we link to all the different cool libraries and applications and so on that are available in the space. So there will be, for instance, a page. Hey, I just created a blockchain on Polkadot. who should I be aware of. And for instance, you should be aware of, let's say, of Polkascan, because it will be great if your chain will be plugged into a block explorer so that everyone can see the transactions and other things that are going on your chain, and or integration with Polka wallet so that you have your chain accessible from mobile. So. Yeah, hopefully we do it in a collaborative manner, and all the grant recipients also produce some resources about the things that they are doing. So that will also make its way here. So yeah, that's a quick overview of the different areas, and yeah, I hope it helps you understand a bit better what we do. Thanks.